All right there, everyone. The Robert Mueller investigation has completely collapsed as an attempted coup against President Trump has been exposed. That's what we'll be talking about on today's video. Before we do, a huge shout out to all of our first-time viewers. I post 2 videos a day analyzing current events in light of some really awesome conservative trends. So if you would, please smack that bell and subscribe button. It'd be an absolute privilege to have you as a regular part of this channel. Also, for everyone, we have some brand new God Emperor Trump apparel and mugs that you're just going to love. So make sure to click on that link below and help support this channel. All right. The ultra-powerful Senate Intelligence Committee has found no evidence of direct collusion between Trump and Russia. Boom. End of story. Period. The Senate Intelligence Committee, which is an extremely powerful body, it's bipartisan, it's made up of both Democrats, Republicans. They spent the last 2 years investigating the Trump campaign and the allegations that they colluded with Russian foreign agents to intentionally influence the 2016 election, and they found nothing, nada, zilch, to corroborate such accusations. As we now know, the whole thing was a lie. It was a ruse. At one level, it was there just to distract leftist liberals and never-Trumpers and independents from the real reason why they lost the election. The whole Russia collusion myth was a way for the corporatist globalist media to save face after perhaps the single most embarrassing and explicit trail of pro-Hillary, pro-Democrat propaganda ever witnessed. They openly laughed at the Trump campaign. They mocked everything that came out of his mouth. A day didn't go by where they failed to accuse Trump of racism, bigotry, misogyny, and homophobia. They agreed with Hillary that half of Trump's supporters were indeed these basket of deplorables and that there was absolutely no possible way that he could ever win this election. The Huffington Post gave Hillary Clinton a 98% chance of winning. Go look it up. Just a few days before the election, on November 4th, 4 days before the election, they gave Hillary Clinton a 98% chance of winning the presidency. They were flat out, completely and totally wrong. The whole of the corporatist globalist media let their hatred for culture, custom, and tradition and Western civilization get the best of them, and their incessant cheerleading for all things liberal and globalist deafened them to the massive nationalist, populist, and traditionalist tsunami that was approaching and that wiped out every shred of credibility that they had left. This whole Russian collusion nonsense was just a deliberate lie to try to cover their asses, to say, hey, we were right all along. It was just we didn't figure that Trump was actually going to tamper with the election. They had actually already pushed that narrative the day after the election when they were saying that voting machines had glitched and malfunctioned. Do you remember that? Well, the only thing here that's malfunctioned is the mainstream media's perception of reality that's been so tainted by their never-ending devotion to cultural Marxism and left-wing politics. And do you want an interesting stat? Just to hammer this final nail in the coffin of this propaganda industry that we call the news media, Newsbusters is reporting that while the nightly news of ABC, CBS, and NBC devoted over 2,000 minutes to the Russian investigation. That was about 20% of their overall news coverage on Donald Trump. Between January 2017 and February this year, while over 2,000 minutes were spent on the whole Russian investigation, not a single second has been spent reporting on the Senate Intel report exonerating Trump. Not a single mention on ABC, NBC, or CBS nightly news. Not one. Though it's been out now for 2 days. That's called, my friends, propaganda. So now with the Senate Intelligence Committee announcing Trump's exoneration, now we're hearing that the Mueller probe may not even issue a final report. I mean, NBC News just released the headline just hours ago. You may be disappointed by the Mueller report. You may be disappointed. Who the hell are they talking to? You may be disappointed. Well, yeah, I'm disappointed that tens of millions of dollars, what is it now? Was it $30 million? Enriching anyone and everyone involved in the investigation, of course, right? Not a shred of freaking evidence for any direct collusion. And in the end, they're probably not even going to make the final report public. But then, with the release of this Senate intelligence report, a bombshell has just come out. Literally, 2-3 days before the Senate Intel report, CBS's 60 Minutes aired an interview featuring the former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe, who was fired by the Justice Department because of a lack of candor under oath, which is a very fancy way of saying that he has a problem with lying under oath. But nevertheless, McCabe was featured on 60 Minutes pushing his new book. And during the interview, he and CBS, the corporatist globalist media outlet, they were both still pushing the whole Russia collusion nonsense. This is before the Senate Intel released its findings. And in the course of the interview, based on this supposed concern about Trump being a Russian asset in the White House, McCabe actually admitted that top officials at the Department of Justice and FBI discussed recruiting cabinet members to push President Trump out of office. McCabe, along with the former FBI Director James Comey, who Trump fired, the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, and other top officials at the Department of Justice were actively strategizing how to remove a duly elected president of the United States. Rosenstein offered to wear a wire to secretly surveil Trump in an effort to get him to incriminate himself in their conversations. McCabe said that the whole issue of secretly recording Trump had come up more than once in their meetings. McCabe actually claims it was discussed several times. And he fully admitted that you had the highest level officials in the United States government conspiring on how to remove a duly elected president from office. Now, as it turns out, this is just the tip of the iceberg, and kudos to Fox News' Sean Hannity for his reporting on this. Remember, what happened in July 2015, the FBI opened a criminal investigation of Hillary Clinton, right, the then candidate for the presidency, to see if she had mishandled top-secret classified information on a private computer that was, in fact, hacked by several foreign intelligence agencies. Peter Strzok, who was the rabid anti-Trump FBI agent who was in charge of that investigation, we now know that Strzok had no intention whatsoever of implicating Hillary Clinton in any wrongdoing. Because in May of 2016, we know that the FBI Director James Comey and Peter Strzok were already drafting a letter exonerating Hillary of any wrongdoing, and here's the key, before they had ever interviewed her. So Comey cleared Hillary of any wrongdoing, even though he publicly admitted she broke a whole host of federal laws, including the obstruction of justice by destroying subpoenaed emails. So if that wasn't bad enough, right around the same time in July 2016, in order to cover up their tracks on letting Hillary off, the FBI opened up an investigation of the Trump campaign. In August, Peter Strzok called it an insurance policy in the unlikely event that Trump won the election. And in order to open up this investigation, what they had to do is they used Hillary's campaign opposition research that put together that phony dossier on Trump that made all kinds of bizarre claims about Trump's behavior in a Russian hotel. They used this fake dossier, knowing that it was false, knowing that it was fabricated. They used it to get several FISA warrants to spy on the Trump campaign. The FISA judges who signed off on the spying warrants had no idea that this was fabricated evidence. But the officials who signed off on it, so that was Comey, Rosenstein, Sally Yates, and McCabe, they all signed off on this FISA application knowingly committing a fraud on a court. And then CIA Director John Brennan and James Baker and James Clapper, they all turned around and intentionally leaked the lies of the dossier to the mainstream media to try to discredit and disgrace Trump both before and even after the election. And then after Trump won, he of course fired Comey, the FBI director, who immediately began leaking his conversations with the president in the hopes that it would prompt a federal investigation of Trump's supposed collusion with Russia, which of course then led to the Mueller investigation in May of 2017. Remember, the FBI agent Lisa Page admitted that there wasn't a shred of evidence to ground this investigation. But that didn't matter because this was nothing more than just an attempt to cover up their artificial exoneration of Hillary. So as an extension of this cover-up, Mueller hired a team of anti-Trump zealots to conduct the investigation. Not a single Republican. 0 Republicans on Mueller's investigation staff. $30 million later, dozens of pre-dawn raids, arrests, and the like, and all for freaking what? all for a preemptive report released by the Senate Intelligence Agency to say that this was a big nothing burger. Alan Dershowitz, the Harvard law professor, said it bluntly. What we are finding here is that this was nothing less than an attempted coup against the President of the United States, a coup by some of the highest-ranking FBI, CIA, and Justice Department officials that as of just a couple of days ago all came crashing down with the Senate intel report exonerating the president from any wrongdoing. The new Attorney General, William Barr, who's a good pro-life man, who was just sworn in last night, did say during the confirmation hearings that he was going to launch an investigation into all of this. And so now all these guys are attempting, these guys who attempted the coup are beginning to turn on each other. All this suggests to me, at least, that the deep state may in fact be on its last legs. Yes, I know it's deep for sure, but there's no question that what the deep state wanted to happen with Trump and what is happening to them is the polar opposite of what any of those involved in this coup were aiming at. Now they're just tearing each other apart, which of course is both amusing and very, very satisfying to see. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. Check out some of our new merchandise on the link below. We have some awesome new God Emperor Trump mugs and t-shirts I think you're just going to love. And please click on either our Patreon, subscribe to our PayPal links below, and become a supporter of this channel and help us to continue to analyze current events in light of awesome conservative trends so that you can personally and professionally flourish. God bless.